everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about the reports that a Daredevil reboot is coming to Disney+. Now, I believe this report. Now, if you've been following me long enough, you know that I didn't think the Netflix shows, I didn't think the Netflix shows were connected even years ago when they were still coming out. Two, I didn't think once, Marvel Entertainment kind of became assimilated into Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige ran around TV and all of the different forms of Marvel, even the comic book stuff, like, technically is underneath Kevin Feige. Once that happened, I thought that was a done deal. I thought Netflix had the full rights to those shows. I thought that those shows were stuck on Netflix, and I was like, they're not going to make those shows canon because they can't even use the footage from those shows. But then, like a month ago, this crazy news about Netflix, about not only does it turns out Netflix doesn't own the rights to these shows, turns out those shows just automatically, the entirety of those shows just automatically go back to Disney. And that was nuts. But then even then, I'm thinking, well, they're going to put them on Hulu because they don't want to, they still not, because Disney Plus doesn't have rated R content and things like that, of that nature. And would you really want it on there? Because they would have to cut things down to make them more, suitable to be on Disney Plus. But then, no. Not only did I was completely wrong about that. I was completely wrong about that bit. I didn't think they would put those on Disney Plus. Not only did they not put those on Hulu, they put them on Disney Plus. They had new parental settings that just came out, and to be fair, they just landed on there just a couple days ago. I'm talking like 3 days ago. And it was a big deal. It was a big-ish deal. It was a big deal. Everyone was talking about it. It was all over Twitter and whatnot. I had a video ready to go about it, but then shit came up. So this is sort of kind of me just combining the video that I made talking about these shows going, plus this recent news that just adds to the fire of what I believe anyways, which is that it is interesting. Not only yes, they are on there. The parental settings are on there and everything. And like the parental settings going from like whatever the low from like Blue's Clues level of show to fucking Jessica Jones and Luke Cage fucking in a bed destroying it level. So like, those are the peaks on there now. And, maybe this is going to open the door to more things. Hopefully, you're probably going to see Deadpool head to Disney+. You're probably going to see Logan go over to Disney+. Some of the more rated R things that have happened in Disney's past. I don't think this is an indication that they're going to start doing more R-rated stuff, so much as it's an indication that they're going to just start funneling their bigger films of that, like, maybe just the Marvel stuff. At least all the Marvel stuff. I don't know about everything else, but at least all the Marvel stuff is going to start going to Disney+. Though, to be fair, I just, not that long ago, earlier today, like, and it's not, I'm recording this at like 10 a.m. So like earlier today, like an hour or two ago, saw that Death of the Nile was heading to Disney+, which is, that's not too bad because Death of the Nile, while it is very raunchy, it is pretty raunchy. And they talk about sex a lot. Somehow that movie's PG-13. So, that's not quite as bad, but still. So they moved to Disney+, and it's funny, the first day when they went to Disney+, the first thing I did on that Wednesday was I got up, and I immediately went to go check it to see, to check them out. See if they cut anything, if they edited anything. They did not. I went to go see a couple scenes to see if they edited them. Of course, I went to go see the Wilson Fisk decapitating the guy. I went to go see the sequence in The Punisher, a couple of the sequences in The Punisher, a couple really bloody sequences in Daredevil, and of course, I had to go see if they had edited Luke Cage and Jessica Jones fucking, because that sequence is so over the top and so like that's one of those sequences that is just like you can't believe exist on the same platform as Luca and as Pinocchio and like all these other things. You got like these just super kid friendly things right next to Jessica Jones and Luke Cage banging, but it's okay, and I looked at the parental settings, even though those parental settings are garbage, dude. They really are. But parental settings in general are garbage. But, it is what it is. Anyways. What was I going to? Anyways, when I'm looking at that, and I wanted to also look at one thing. Also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. dropped down there, too. But no one cares about that right now. And I noticed something. Not only are these shows not on the MCU timeline. They're not on the timeline. They're not on any MCU things. Not only are they not on the MCU timeline, not only are they in a separate category called the Defender Saga, which kind of makes it, which everyone else is talking about how, oh, this sounds so prestigious. It sounds like they're giving it love, so they really appreciate it. So no, to me, it's like giving it the Defender Saga kind of tells me that they think of that as a closed caption thing. They think of that as a complete thing. You ever seen like the Infinity Saga is a complete thing. Like every MCU movie that comes out after Avengers Endgame, I believe. Yeah, after Avengers Endgame. Actually, I guess after Spider-Man Far From Home. Every movie that comes out after Spider-Man Far From Home is outside of the Infinity Saga. It's done. It's ended. It's a complete ending. So if they're calling this the Defender Saga, which is my first thought, means that they think of this as a complete thing. This is the beginning and end of the Defender Saga. They're not, like, that doesn't sound to me like they plan on bringing this entire thing in. But on top of that, something else I noticed that I didn't see anyone notice at all too, which is with the Daredevil show on there, and once you like put the parental settings all the way to max, to the MA stuff, like all of it kind of pops up there. And when it's set on that setting, everything suggests, the suggestions and everything that changes. But the curious thing is, when you go to Hawkeye, when you watch Hawkeye, when you go to Hawkeye, Daredevil is not in the suggestions, which is odd considering that Kingpin at the very least, is in 1.5 episodes and has a lot of screen time in that second episode. In the last episode, and has multiple edited out sequences. To have him be that involved in the thing and not have Daredevil be in the suggestions, well, it suggests that they don't consider it canon. And like I said, I've been getting in arguments with people all day about it. And it's the funniest thing. It's one of those things where I feel conflicted. But this is different than me arguing with DC people. Arguing with DC people, I come with the rage, I come with the fury, I come with the body shots. I'm in it. But the thing is, I love the Netflix Daredevil show, or the Defenders Daredevil show. I loved it. I thought Jessica Jones, the first season at least, was fantastic. I thought half of Luke Cage season 1 was great, and I thought that Luke Cage season 2 is highly underrated. Hell, I liked Iron Fist season 2. I thought the Punisher was great. Granted, I don't think the Punisher is as good as most people think it is. Like, it's one of those ones like when you take the Punisher and you put it right next to Daredevil, you realize how that show is nowhere near as good. And it's just like, oh yeah, this isn't really, like, I'll admit, watching the Punisher show, I realized, like, damn, like, this is why these shows shouldn't be 13 episodes. Like, the Punisher should have been the Punisher would have been perfect as a six-part show. But anyways, I digress. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Defenders. I know a lot of people were upset, but seeing those characters interact was fun. I had a great time with the Defenders. You know what I mean? So, like, for me personally, I enjoyed most of Marvel Netflix. I reviewed it. I enjoyed it. I gave most of it good scores. So, like, I defended it. So it's so weird for me to be arguing with people as if I'm saying that these shows are bad, as if I'm saying these shows are shit, which I am not saying. Granted, I am kind of curious where all these people were when the shows were coming out, because as far as I remember, there was only one of these shows that was getting universal praise was the Daredevil show, and all the other shows were getting mixed responses. But suddenly, all of a sudden, they're great. It's the same thing, like I said, it's the Monday morning quarterback thing. I've talked about it many times before. People did it with the prequels. They do it with everything. They do it with everything. They did it with the prequels. They're gonna do it with They're gonna do it with They do it with Spider-Man and stuff. This like retroactive, they do it with some of the Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man. This retroactively going back and rewriting history to make it seem as if, oh well, that thing that was terrible, it really wasn't as terrible as you thought it was. When it's like, no, you didn't like this. No, everyone bitched about the 13 episode count. Yes. Everyone bitched about the budget and how some things looked really, really cheap. Yes, everyone bitched about certain aspects of the show. Everyone bitched about the Defenders. Everyone bitched about about them killing off Kilgrave and killing off Cottonmouth. But suddenly it's all forgotten because we want it, because we just don't want to remember it. But I digress. When we add all that information up, the fact that they're not on the timeline, the fact that they're in their own separate saga, which hints that it's a complete thing, the fact that Daredevil, that on Hawkeye, Daredevil isn't even in suggestions, it would indicate that Marvel doesn't think that those shows are legit canon. Also, Charlie Cox just a week ago, which is something that no one's really like, which is like, I don't know if people are forcing themselves not to like, the thing is, people want these shows to be canon so bad because they think that making them canon will give them more legitimacy, and nothing short of them being canon will satisfy them, and they don't want to even hear any other argument or any other logical statement. But Charlie Cox has over and over again, has twice talked about the fact that his Daredevil might be different, that his Daredevil might be an alternate version of Daredevil, the same but different, something new. He even went out and said that it doesn't even make sense for them to do Daredevil season 4 in his eyes. He said that, yet nobody wants to hear him. Nobody wants to hear that because they're so stuck on the idea of these shows being canon that Charlie Cox literally was just saying it doesn't make sense for them to do a season 4, that with this whole multiverse thing going, that they could do something different, that it'll be the same but different. Charlie Cox out here saying that he can work PG-13, almost as if he knows something, and he's trying to tell people that this is going to be a rebooted version of Daredevil. And then these reports coming out from reputable sources, these reports coming out that Marvel is working on a Daredevil reboot. So all of it is aiming towards, this is not the same Daredevil from the Netflix shows. That is not the same Kingpin. Now, Vincent D'Onofrio is saying he was playing it like he's the same Kingpin, but he isn't the same Kingpin. And that's the thing. They're like, and I really wanted to talk about that because I just like I said, I've been getting in arguments with people all on Twitter and whatnot over this, and it's such a strange thing. Just because I'm like, dude, you guys are making me feel like I'm talking shit about these shows. I'm not. The thing is, those shows don't fit in the MCU. And the thing about it is, the budget that they're going to give that Daredevil show, it's not even going to be like the old Daredevil show. The old Daredevil show was made for like what 30, 50 million dollars. It wasn't the budget that the Disney Plus shows are. I can tell you that much. So it's not even going to be like that anyways. So in closing, I personally don't think those shows are canon. I think between Charlie Cox multiple times talking about how his Daredevil, maybe it'll be a different version of Daredevil. Maybe it'll be a reimagined version of Daredevil. Maybe it'll be an alternate reality version of Daredevil. The fact that he says it doesn't make any sense for them to come back to season 4, that he feels differently and that the world is different and that his character might be different. The fact that on the Disney Plus app, it's not on the timeline. The fact that not only is it not on the timeline, it's in its own little isolated saga, which, like I said, if the Infinity Saga is anything to indicate, then they think of that as a complete thing, that this is a complete cap thing. Nice little thing you can go watch, but it has no merit on the actual MCU itself. And on top of that, it's not even in the suggestions of Hawkeye, which has Kingpin in it. And like I said, and then those reports that they're doing a Daredevil reboot, everything is leading to me believing that what's going to happen is that Wilson Fisk and Daredevil and Matt Murdock, these are alternate reality versions. These are the MCU versions, and everything that happened on the Daredevil Netflix shows are alternate realities. Is it an alternate reality that's very similar to ours, but not quite? It's the easiest way to explain some of the plot holes and some of the logical loops that don't make any sense. I've said it before. It doesn't make any sense that fucking Ross, that Thunderbolt Ross, aka William Hurt, R.I.P., didn't just come down and snatch up Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, since literally they mentioned the Sokovia Accords and they're just running around in the public with Luke Cage is doing shit on ESPN without no one giving a fuck. Get the hell out of here. Like I say, there are aspects that they just do. There are a lot of things that happen on those shows that just doesn't line up and make any sense, that no one would have said anything about it. That like I said, you're telling me Thunderbolt Ross would have came down and snatched up Luke Cage in an instant? You're telling me they wouldn't have came and snatched up Jessica Jones in an instant? No. So like I said, and plus something else that I thought about, which I'll end it with this. All the other actors outside of the ones who worked on the Daredevil show have moved on. like most of them have moved on to other projects, to other shows, or doing other things. They're not coming back. And like to just get them all back, it'd be more of a pain in the ass to get them all back to make it canon than just to do what you want. And do you really want to be handcuffed to that whack-ass version of the Hand? I'm sorry. The Netflix version of the Hand went lame as fuck, and I would hate for the MCU to be handcuffed to that. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.